example, no forward or
Yeah. So I'm here with Scott Stroud, and we're just talking about Scott's done a couple of trainings with Judy Reese, but he's talking about how he's been able to read from contempt to curiosity and put it straight into action. And he was just about to give me some examples. So go ahead, Scott. What did you do with the stuff that's in that book?
so straight up what you mentioned what to do in the book. Very easy to follow if you know clean. So I was working with a young startup and one team of three people in that startup um, following clients. Um, I interviewed them individually over Zoom, 10, 15 minutes to get their personal metaphor, how they work at their best, and then got them together. And the first thing getting them together, each person, I had my notes to prompt if they needed it, but they remembered, went through and described their metaphor of how they're working at their best. One guy was a lazy hero. He only liked to get called in when there was an emergency. Another person was like the busy bee who'd go out and get clients and then come back in like a busy bee into the hive, buzzing around and asking all the questions that she needed for her clients. The third person was the person who followed all the minutiae of the detail of each client, and it was very difficult work. And she was in a bubble, and inside that bubble, she had her tea, she had her mug of pens. Each pen had a color for a very specific purpose. And when the busy bee would come in and just be on the phone and just grab a pen because it was right there and jot something down, or interrupt the girl and ask her a question, which she needed, it took the girl out of her bubble and it would take her 20 minutes to get back in that bubble.
Hmm.
So, as she was describing this, without talking about the busy bee, just saying how she had her color coded pens, everything, the busy bee said, so, does that mean when I'm coming in and I'm interrupting you with a question, or if someone takes your pen, that takes you out of your bubble? And the girl went physically like, yes. And what was amazing at that moment, because I realized she was the youngest on the team, the most recently hired, she could not have brought that up in a meeting because that would have meant that she was complaining and she did not feel that she could do that. And
Yeah.
so organically, this arose so that her issue was addressed just by exploring it without pointing a finger at anyone. It was put in the middle of the table and everyone could look at it. And
Yeah, and I was just because before when you'd started to describe it, I was like, you've created the conditions. So a little bit of getting them to know it themselves. So just very short interviews to get to know their own system without the pressure of others listening. And then bringing them together, you've created self and other advocacy, but without the normal stress of that. So you're allowing them to notice their own little adjustments, the reasonable adjustments they can make for one another's metaphors so that each of them can be at their best more of the time. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
also because there's three work together and it's their best interest that each person works at their best. And
Yeah.
so what also came up, which was what I love, and I've seen it time and time again about your, and I'll give you an example of your system, is that the solutions come from them. If anyone had said, be careful, don't take your own pens, it's just be stupid, because it wouldn't bother me. It would only even bother that person. So the person noticed, and which is I love about your title of your book, which I reflect on from time again. It's from contempt to curiosity. That's the order, right? Yeah. And she would feel contempt, complaining, moaning about someone taking a pen. She has 20. To curiosity, people became curious and defended. Oh, I was going to say, they all defended. No, 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 don't take her pen from the other, because there was just one team in a matter of four teams in the startup, and they all worked in the same room. So they became advocates for her, which is
Yeah.
beautiful. She doesn't have to complain. The others are like, no, 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 don't take her pen. She's in her bubble. The,
Yeah. And the metaphor gives her substance.
Also, and this again back to the solution. If we had said, okay, now I was thinking of a solution. It was obvious they all had three different ways of working. So what could they do? But they all needed each other, and they were completely complementary. It's not my job to say that they're completely complementary. They said, the girl said, who the busy bee, she goes, okay, I understand, but I'm out with I'm the one getting the clients, and those clients need answers, and I need to come back to the hive to get my answers. or call you. I'm not going to call you because I'm on the phone with him. So I need to ask you, I need to interrupt you. What do we do? Because I understand, I don't want to get you out of your bubble, but I need this information as soon as possible. So they said, what do we do? They said, is it possible every hour we take a 10-minute break and we convene? So, which is perfect. If I had said that, they'd be like, yeah, yeah. It came from the three.
Yeah.
And then also, we fully did, they drew when their team is at their best, just like you do in your book. And they're all drawing and adding on a whiteboard. I had pens. They're all making this beautiful metaphor. And then I had the chance to do each team, the other three teams. So then each team did the same. And then they drew a metaphor on the whole whiteboard of when the startup is working at its best. So literally, I mean, that's pretty much what I've gotten from your book, plus other stuff, obviously listening and holding attention. But it's amazing. Another quick example was with an RA, human resources small team who really wanted to impact positively. They really felt that their candidates, they really wanted to accompany them to find the best place for them. Their clients who needed the candidates, they also wanted to find the best place for them. And I did a teaser. I did a 1 hour workshop with them just to show them what it was like, what I've explained. They loved it straight off. They said, okay, we want this. So I wrote up a program and it was refused, not by them, by a parent company, because they felt it was team building. Something, it's not team building. But my client, they wanted it. So I rewrote the program just using a human resources training, each module. But what I was actually teaching was systemic modeling in clean language. And at the end, they said, what we got most of it. So how to do intake interviews, how to accompany your clients, all of this were the titles, but using what we do. And at the end, I said, so 2 months after I went to see them, so, what was the impact, do you think? Like how we communicate internally, which
I
was
love it. I love it.
and
Because
one
once they
moment.
can do that, they can learn from one another. Scott, I know that our time's short, so I'm
Just one
just
quick, you
go.
need this one. One, and the manager who was there were two founders, and he was my neighbor. That's how I got in there. We were talking one day at a barbecue, and I said, I'd love to show you. And he said, yes. Um, that first thing that they want, and then they decided for 6 modules. Near the end, he was like, well, I don't want to be a manager. I don't want to manage you. And they were like, that makes so much sense. That's why you, and so he would have never dared to say that in a normal situation, I don't think. The co-founder saying, actually, I don't want to be managing you guys. And they're like, but we need direction. He's like, okay, that's fine. How do we do? So the solutions come from them. It's the things arrive organically. They emerge, I guess is the word we use. They rise to the surface organically because they have that space. And my job is to hold that space.
I love
And
it.
I think, anyway, sorry.
And we'd say that the solutions that they come up with themselves are more adjacent to, and they're to all of them. So they can definitely do them because they made them up. That's brilliant. Thank you for that short, clean conversation.
Thank you.
Um, it's really lovely to know what people can do from reading the book.
Mm, mm,
It's great. Thank you.
totally. Thank you.